Mr. Yanti concerning any issue of bribery. Of the names that he listed, there's no one who has got any authority to commit government in that regard. More so, Mr. Yanti has been identified from day one as a person of interest in this case, and he has been on the run. Through mutual cooperation with the Ghanaian police, he was arrested and subsequently turned over. Mr. Yanti was brought back into the country on the 6th, the intervention of a family member who made a request that he was willing to cooperate and become a witness. However, we know that in criminal investigation, cooperating suspects are always dangerous. When he was brought in based on the request of the family member who assisted in this process, we gave him a chance to speak with him and to test the legitimacy of his willingness to assist in the investigation. In the process, it was proven that indeed he could not be trusted. He was already charged even before, he was charged in absentia, so even before being arrested. As such, he was brought over at central headquarters and subsequently turned over to the court. At no point in time did we ever intend to make a deal with him or to even promise him what he's claiming. The claims that you're hearing and counterclaims, I don't even know which one to believe. 50,000, 200,000, 2,000, whichever one it is. Though I can tell you they made requests that we could not honor. And at no point in time did we enter any agreement with Mr. Yanti to lie or to force him or coerce him in any way, shape, or form to speak falsely against any of the defendants. The LMP will remain resolute. This matter is, like I say, is before the court. We are still looking for other suspects. Now that we have a full indictment, the diffusion, the Interpol diffusion that we have for the suspects that are alive, I've instructed the Deputy Inspector General for Crime Services, Intelligence, and Interpol to upgrade that diffusion notice in the Interpol system to a red notice. So over the next few days, that notice will be published. As soon as we get a feedback from NCB Monrovia receives the feedback from Interpol, it will be published out there and will be shared with our counterparts around the world to have those criminal suspects repatriated to Nigeria for prosecution. Mr. Yanti returned followed lawful procedures. He was accorded his due privileges. The Ghanaian police cooperated with us. The relative of his who engaged and asked us to give him a chance because he wanted to intervene. We have spoken to them. We have their sworn statements and everything. When Mr. Yanti came in, he willingly, in the presence of his lawyer, made sworn statement that we have on record that was videotaped and also written in by his own hand. The video is clear. When it is right, when that time reaches at court, it will be presented for whatever evidence purpose, but at no point in time was he ever forced to do anything of such. Well, I watched the video. I did not see my men drag the CDC chairperson. At no point in time did they drag him. More so, I raised concerns about that particular action and said it was under a review for the use of force. The Professional Standards Division was instructed, and that review is ongoing. It is my hope that the chairperson will cooperate with the investigation and come forward if he has any claims or counterclaims in that regard. And indeed, yes, I am proud of my men. They show remarkable discipline and professionalism. Thank you. Sometimes, when you take some of these decisions, you're looking at one direction, but then it has a multiplier effect, and that has been the case with the motorcyclists flying the Main Street. We were more concerned about their safety, and that was the basis upon which this decision was taken. But beyond the safety, it did speak to the issue of crime reduction as well, which around this time, we did a comparison of the last 5 years statistics of our crime rate. And when you look at this time around the year, as soon as the rain begins, there's always a surge. More so, we had a release of some high-profile criminals after serving over 2 terms of court from the central prison. So it was our anticipation that by this time, we would have had 2 times the spike that we normally see around this time of the year. Knock on wood, I mean, if the crime rate has remained relatively low. We've had instances of armed robbery, one on Duper Road, and another one reported in the Biosphere area, major armed robberies. So we're tracking these different groups. We're using proactive measures. We deploy more intelligence to be able to counter them in the day before they can strike at night. So we're reassuring the public that there are measures in place to ensure that we keep the crime rate down. But on the overall, these are just more of opportunistic crimes driven by substance abuse and what have you. That is why we advise people to take proactive measures and not to expose themselves to dangerous areas. Like you leave something visible in the vehicle is an attraction even for the owners, not even for just criminals. So we ask people to safeguard themselves while we work tirelessly to ensure that we prevent crimes from happening. Okay, so what Mr. Yanti may not know, where he was taken, regardless of whatever that location was considered a safe house. And there are protocols that cover a safe house, especially when you have people under such protection. Everyone who spoke to him were under video surveillance. So, I mean, if Mr. Yanti can come out and bring, like you say, he has recordings and back and forth, if he can bring recordings or any documentation indicating that these things were made, we will consider them. But from our end, we know that everyone that spoke to him, some of the names he claims spoke to him, yes, they are part of the investigation, and they have all rights to be there to talk to him about the investigation and not to coerce him in any way to lie. Look, this case has been on the basis of good evidence and good evidence only. At no point in time will we try to compromise our integrity or the integrity of the investigation or the state itself to try to falsify evidence. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever to put any extra twist to this case. This is a strong and solid case. I believe, like I said, from day one, the men were very professional in their dealing. We follow international protocols. We compare notes with international investigators. We compared with other actors to make sure that we have crossed our T's and dotted our I's. We are not worried about gathering anything extra. We have sufficient at this point in time. Look, the thing here, what you all don't understand is that all of you here, your platforms are being used as a means of adjudicating this matter in the public. Those who have concerns go to the court. That's where it should be adjudicated. Let them take the evidence to the court. No evidence is not evidence. When you say on them, push on no evidence, it doesn't mean you have the evidence. So go to the court. We appreciate what you all do. I mean, it's a part of the democracy. But you all should be very careful, understanding the fact that these people are just trying to use your platform to sway the jurors, to sway potential jurors, to put in the minds of the public that this thing is not real. What is evident is the fact that that building lies in ruins. What is evident is the fact that you have videos in your phone with the flame and a thick black smoke. What you do have evidence of is that there was an assault on the democracy. And nobody has ever answered for it in this country. Look, the culture of impunity was stopped in this country. And if we cannot stop that culture of impunity, you cannot stop corruption, you cannot stop anything here. Under this administration, as we have served as a team, we're going to go after anyone who breaks the law, regardless of your social status, your class, your position, whatever. If you break the law, you're going to man bill coming for you. Okay, so Mr. Yanti, like I said, was kept on a safe house protocols, where which area, that I'm not going to review yet, but yes, he was not at the Liberia National Police Headquarters. He was kept in a safe house on a safe house protocol. At this point in time, I'll take no further questions. I want to thank you all for all of the support. And please remember, this is about Liberia, love Liberia, think Liberia, and let's build Liberia together. Thank you. The
Ministry of Education and the Liberia National Police have announced the immediate enforcement of a ban on all street parades during school celebration of gala days, graduation, and WAS festivity across Liberia. The measure aims to prevent injuries, public disturbances, and violation of safety regulations. Schools are encouraged to hold celebratory events in controlled environments like stadium or town halls instead of the open streets. The police will monitor and enforce these rules, with violations subject to legal penalties. The authorities emphasize that the goal of this restriction is to ensure safe, respectful celebration and call for cooperation with schools, officials, and parents, students in maintaining public order.
This update demonstrates government's commitment to transparency, accountability, as well as to ensure that the public's right to know the strides that we are making in the fight against corruption. So as we all know, or as I have always told the public on this platform, LACC is charged with the mandate to investigate acts of corruption, prosecute acts of corruption, as well as to educate the public about the ills of corruption and the benefits that come with eradicating or mitigating corruption in Liberia. And so today's presentation is mainly going to be focused on our investigative efforts as well as our prosecution efforts. And then I will just bring the public to speak on other activities we are undertaking as a commission. So over the period, I said the period, this presentation covers January to June 15, 2025. Over the period, LACC, the Monitoring Investigation Department, has recorded significant progress through the completion of 4 high-profile cases involving, number 1, the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. The second one is former officials of the National Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Commission, which is the WASH Commission. The third one is the investigation involving suspended officials of the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, the LRRC, and the current official of the National Road Fund Authority, as well as former officials of the National Oil Company of Liberia. Basically what I'm trying to say is that we have completed investigation into these allegations of corruption. And the next step now is we are working closely with the Ministry of Justice to draw up indictment and have the persons of interest to be brought under the jurisdiction of the court for prosecution. I want to say that this investigation underscores the government unwavering commitment of holding public officials accountable, as well as restoring public trust in governance. In addition to these cases that we have concluded for the period January to June, we also engaged in high-profile investigation into cases involving the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority, which is the NAFA, and we've been following. The investigation is ongoing and we are making strides, hoping that we can be able to complete the investigation in the coming month of July. We are working on investigation involving the current head of the WASH Commission. We are working on cases involving the Central Bank of Liberia, the Ministry of State, the Executive Protection Services, the MCSS, the LFA, just to name a few. We have been giving full details in our regular quarterly reports that we normally publish on our website. And I want to encourage us just to dispel some of the rumors or to express yourself with what we are doing when it comes to investigation and prosecution or the activities of the LACC to go to our website. Each time I come here, I'll make it my duty to give the information is www.lacc.gov.lr. Go to the page, you will see the icon there, publication. Click on it, you will see our reports from 2020. In fact, from 20, we have report way back as 2008 up to now. All that we have been doing, if you want to know the status of cases, go there, you will see it and you will be following up on the activities of the LACC. And this is just to end our investigative efforts. It's not, these cases that are listed, I want to clarify, it's not the only cases we are investigating. I just said to name a few, but when you go to the report, you'll see it. We have a lot of cases coming from the GAC, other report that we are currently investigating. So just go there and take a look at the report. And this will now bring me to our prosecution activities. The prosecution department, the last term of court in May, precisely on May 5th, the criminal court C handed down a guilty verdict in a case involving former official of the Planned Parenthood. This case it was done in twofold. The first group of officials were initially the court handed down a guilty verdict, and then the second individual was also adjudged guilty. Somebody will ask, what is the next step? Unfortunately, we have a problem with our judicial system. The LACC, the defendant has taken an appeal to the Supreme Court, which is a 60-day period to be able to perfect the appeal. And even when the appeal is completed, because the Supreme Court now has jurisdiction of the matter, we cannot proceed with enforcement. These are issues that we have. Imagine we go through the process of going through months of investigation, drawing a report, months of prosecution, and even when the court hands down, the lower court hands down a guilty verdict, we cannot proceed with enforcement because the law prohibits us until after the Supreme Court can hear into the matter. These are the reforms that we need to look at our law. Like for example, the commercial code, I do know is that when there's a verdict against you, it does not say execution. You either you're gonna put whatever money that you are being held for into the escrow account. But these are reforms to our law that needs to be looked at. So also, prosecution activities. We currently have a case ongoing in Bong County. It's a case involving the Bong Hospital, similar to the one we did for the Margibi County Hospital, where our partners gave fundings for medical supplies, and those fundings were misused. There's a case currently ongoing in Bong County with another group of individuals who took monies that were supposed to be used for the public and diverted it to their own selfish personal gain. The case is ongoing, and we will continue to provide the public with updates. I mentioned that we are currently working on getting indictments. Once we can get indictments in the LTA case, the LRRC case, the local case, I forgot to mention Babodu County. There's a yellow machine case that we completed too. We are drawing up these indictments. We will go to the court. Our only constraint here is that, and I will continue to mention, that the only court we have right now, the LACC in Monrovia, is the criminal court C. The court is really, really overwhelmed. In fact, this term of court, we were able to some extent, manage to put the latest case on a docket. But after some consideration from the court informed us that they could not continue with the jury trial into the latest case because they have two high-profile drug cases that are ongoing, and so they have to put us on a hold. We are hoping that come next term of court, which is August, the LACC will be giving preference so that we can begin prosecution of the alleged case. This is the reason why we continue to call on for the establishment of our own specialized court. To this extent, I'm talking with stakeholders, I'm talking with donor partners. This is something that is very keen, and we are working on these. We're taking steps to be able currently there is a draft bill before the legislature. We are taking steps to be able to move that bill forward so that once enacted, we can be able to establish a specialized anti-corruption code. What that will mean to us is that instead of us going to all the other courts that are currently overwhelmed, when we do our investigation, we get our indictment, we just proceed to the specialized anti-corruption code, and they will try the cases speedily, and we will be able to recover. Because somebody will ask, why we're not even recovering? Under our law, you cannot divest anybody of their property except through an outcome of a court proceeding. And so this is where we are when it comes to prosecution. We are currently working on, like I said, 4 indictments. Once we get the indictment, we'll have the individuals arrested, brought under the jurisdiction of the court, and then we will take the prosecution from there. Well, we haven't just been investigating and prosecuting through. We have, like I said, we have a mandate to educate the public about the ills of corruption. And so to do that, we have tried to decentralize our activities. Over the period, we've been to Maryland County, creating awareness about the corruption. We've been to River G County, where we had a town hall engagement with the citizens. We were able to even get people to local government officials to declare their assets. And so this is something that is going to be ongoing. We've been to Bombing County, Nima County, in our effort to decentralize our activities. As you speak, they'll bring me to asset declaration updates. So as we all are aware, on February 12, 2025, His Excellency, the President, gave a mandate for the suspension of public officials who have refused to declare their asset, which led to some public officials who fall in the non-compliant listing to be suspended for a month, and their salaries were withheld. After the February 12th deadline, we still have public officials who have refused. As I speak to you, we have over 100 public officials in Monrovia. So what we have done, we have divided them into categories. We understand that the local government officials who are in places like Sano, River G, to come to Monrovia to declare their asset is a challenge. But we have people who are right in Monrovia, who are sitting and they've refused to declare. And I just want to name a couple of institutions, like for example, NASCA, LEC, the board of these institutions, NASCA, LEC, Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority, JFK, MPA. They have people who are sitting on board collecting salaries but have refused to come and declare their asset with the LACC. We also have, and in the legislature, we also have non-compliant lawmakers in the House of Representatives and the Senate and the judiciary. Come the end of this month, we are going again to publish the listing so that the public can see who these non-compliant. At this point, I don't even consider them non-compliant. I just think they don't care about the whole issue of asset declaration or transparency or being accountable to the public. And so we will continue to publish. For the LACC, we want 100% compliant, and this is what we are working towards. We issued our guideline for 2025. We named July 4th as the final date for asset declaration for 2025. And so we will also begin to update the public on our asset declaration activities. looking ahead, our focus for this year, I told my people at the institution that we spent a lot of time on investigation last year. Last year we concluded 24 cases. And this year, this first quarter, we have done 5 cases. So we have 29 cases that we have concluded investigation on, and the 29 cases that we want to take for prosecution. And so this year, we are going to focus on prosecution. Even if we can't do all 29, no, we will not be able to do all 29. But this year, I want to make strides in from now to the end of the month. From now to the end of the year, to be able to do at least 2 high-profile corruption cases to close the year with, while we take steps to establish the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. We have been engaging our partners, including the UNDP, the World Bank, the Swedish Embassy. We want to say a big thank you to our partners, especially when it comes to the issue of training of our staff. We want to say thank you to our partners. We want to just let the public know that also during the period we received some donations from USAID, including a vehicle, which has been very helpful. We are using it, we put it in our pool to be able to help us with our work. So, in the closing remark, and afterward, which I will take questions, I want to use this opportunity, especially to you, the media. I think there was the same point the IG raised. The way we speak about our country and the way we put up information will determine how the public will perceive us, how our international partners will perceive us. The fight against corruption is a long and difficult one, but at the end of the day, we may not be able to hold everybody accountable, but we know that at the end of the day, we will make an example of individuals so that it serves as deterrence. I want to call on the public to remain steadfast, join us in our mandate. We want to say thank you for all the support you have been giving us. To not just report the negative things, the LSCC we have been doing in as much as we have not been able to prosecute, but we have been doing a lot of investigation, arrests, continue to showcase those activities.
We're proud to announce that the NPA is hosting the 10th annual conference of Harbor Masters and PFSOs of the Port Management Association of West and Central Africa, PMACA for short. Now, what is Liberia's relationship with PMACA? Liberia is a founding member of PMACA. Liberia was there when PMACA was established in 1972. And through Liberia's relationship with PMACA, the National Port Authority has gained access to a lot. Knowledge sharing, compliance framework, and regional platforms of port existence. Our port is no longer an isolated node. There are integrated links in a stronger, smarter, and secure regional trade network. So the Harbor Masters and PFSO conference, what is this conference? What does it entail? It brings together Harbor Masters and PFSOs from across 22 ports, within 20 countries around West and Central Africa. So it's a big event. This is an event where our Harbor Masters and sorry, I didn't expand on the meaning of PFSO. So PFSO is the Port Facility Security Officer. They're responsible to coordinate security and compliance security, ISPS regulations, and local port regulations as it relates to port policing and everything. So this conference brings together members of the PFSO's community and Harbor Master community to discuss ways in which they can enhance port security and safety within the network. What does Liberia benefit, or what have Liberia benefited? Through this relationship, Liberia has participated in several organized conferences and training by PMACA, capacity building, and human resource development, one of which, the most recent one, was our inclusion in the gender inclusive training, in Abidjan. And now we are leading the discussions around Liberia. We're proud to say that our women that attended this conference are back home and they're leading discussions. As we gather here, I'd just like to reiterate that this year's theme is under celebration is under the theme Navigating the Challenges of Food Security and Safety. So we all recognize that it is very essential to have our ports, our gateways safe. And it is against this backdrop that members of the Harbor Master Network and Port Facility Security Officers Network of PMARCA come together every year to discuss ways and manners in which they can enhance port security and safety. So this conference empowers us to confront the race and to also come up with actionable solutions through collaborations and harmonized protocols, especially with regional solidarity. So it's just not a technical forum, but it's also shields the safeguard for our economy and people, especially within our waterways, shared waterways to be particular. So Liberia is proud to be associated with PMARCA. As you know, the President, upon his inception, has launched the arrest agenda. So we, at the level of the National Port Authority, we've ensured that our actions are aligned with it. So what we've done to align this conference is to make sure that all of the different strategy sections and discussions will center around several key pillars of the arrest agenda. Just to touch a few, the rule of law and governance, how do we contribute to that is through responsible security, transparent maritime administration, and adherence to international standards. And also under that is infrastructure development. We're looking to improve port facilities, improve safety protocols, and operational systems. Human capital, also we are interested in developing human resource capacity. Sanitation and health, we are particularly concerned with environmental stewardship, waste management, and emergency preparedness in the maritime sector. Trade and tourism, we're interested in increasing efficiency, reliability, and competitiveness at the Liberia's gateway and our own gateway to the rest of the world. So we at the NPA would like to say, in as much as this is a regional vision, it remains a national imperative agenda for us.